Welcome to What's in the Pot. I'm your host Sean Grande, and today we're making curry stewed chicken. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and send it to your friends and family. It's What's in the Pot. Thank you very much for tuning into What's in the Pot. For our curry stew chicken, we're using this Chief brand curry stew powder. It's a combination of curry and some stew flavors like cane sugar and a little bit of tomato paste. I'm using about a pound and a half of chicken legs and thighs cut up. And I'm going to start seasoning with a little bit of adobo, a little bit of all-purpose seasoning. I'm using the Chief brand. You can use any kind of all-purpose seasoning you have in your pantry. I'm going to start with some dried thyme leaves. If you don't have dried thyme leaves, if you have fresh ones, go ahead and use that because it's even better, especially with the fresh stuff. And a little bit of black pepper. Also, we're not going to be adding too much salt. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add some other ingredients later on into the dish that has a little bit of that salty content as well. And I like adding paprika. This is a spicy paprika when I'm making my stew. It just gives a nice taste. And I'm using some of this Goya cilantro powder. Kind of gives it a similar flavor as you would get with green seasoning, but I'm also going to add some of that original fresh green seasoning, some fresh Scotch bonnet pepper, about a quarter of a Scotch bonnet pepper cut up into small pieces, and about a teaspoon of our green seasoning mixture. And obviously you can always go back in my earlier videos to see how I make this green seasoning mixture. And lastly, I gotta add some of this Bertie's pimento seasoning because pimento just adds absolutely the best flavor when you're making any dish. This is our seasoned chicken. You want to let it marinate in the fridge for a couple hours or overnight. We're gonna get that curry stew going, and we're gonna start with some onion and Scotch bonnet pepper. This is about a quarter of a Scotch bonnet, and we want to let that onion and Scotch bonnet pepper sweat a little bit. Then we're gonna add some garlic. This is about a teaspoon of minced garlic, equivalent to about 1 clove of garlic. So you can go ahead and add fresh garlic if you have it. And once we let that start sweat a little bit for about maybe 3 to 4 minutes, we're gonna start adding our curry stew powder. Now, generally, when you're making curry chicken, you're gonna let the curry kind of cook up with the onions and the pepper. So we're kind of doing it the same concept. From what I've heard with this is the longer you cook it, if you cook it just like this, it's going to be more of a curry flavor. But the longer you let it burn, it brings out more of the caramelization from the sugar inside the product. I add a little bit more oil because I think I need more oil to let this curry burn. So I've let it fry out for maybe about 3-4 minutes. I'm going to add a little bit of water. You can see the colors getting a little bit darker, and that's the caramelization from the sugar in the curry stew powder. So we're going to let this fry up maybe for about a minute or two, and then we're going to go ahead and add our meat. So it's been frying up for a couple minutes. We're gonna go ahead and start adding our chicken. Once we add our chicken, I'm just gonna leave it in the pot like this because I want to get one side to brown. I'm just gonna cover it for about 3 to 4 minutes. So after a few minutes, you can see the chicken is gonna start getting brown on one side. So we want to flip it to both sides get coated with that nice sauce, and then we're gonna go ahead and cover it back up. Now what we wanted to do is we want to cover it back up. We don't want to add water because we want the chicken to spring its natural water. You can see all the juices that are coming out there. That's just from the chicken. So you don't need to add water right away once you're cooking the chicken. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding some water to let this chicken cook. Now what I like to do is whatever seasoning is left at the bottom of the bowl that you season it, or if you season a Ziploc, put some water into that and go ahead and put that in there because that's extra seasoning you're adding to your dish. Add a little touch more water and we'll let this cook for about 15 minutes. So our chicken is almost finished. So right before we finish it off, I'm going to add a little bit of this Goya sazon seasoning. It is annatto and culantro, or ruku and shadow beni powder kind of combination. It's going to give the chicken that a little bit of that nice red color you'd get from the stewed chicken. If you can smell this, it smells like stewed chicken. You can smell a little bit of that curry. And with me, anytime I'm making curry stew, I like to add a little touch of ketchup. You don't have to add ketchup if you don't want. I'm adding a little touch of ketchup, a little bit more water, and some of this green seasoning paste and fresh shadow beni. What I like to do is when we add the fresh shadow beni right towards the end, it just brings out the flavor of the shadow beni and mixes well with the dish. After letting that chicken simmer with the green seasoning that we just added, this is our final product. This cooking time is approximately maybe 35 to 45 minutes total. You can see the chicken has that perfect color. It's not curry color. It's not a complete red like you would get with stew. It's the perfect combination of a curry stew. With this, you can taste the sweetness of the stew. You can also taste the spices that come out with the curry. So I'm gonna definitely recommend trying this out. Chief brand curry stew powder. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.